welcome everyone to the Puck Drops here and a brand new video about who I believe are the top 100 greatest hockey players in the history of the world of the National Hockey League. Welcome everyone, of course. Make sure to like, subscribe, and to comment on these videos positively so I can gain more following and be able to do even better videos. But I really wanted to do this one for a long time because I knew my top 5 for years and years, but I never really knew my top 100. So I was able to pen a list down, and let's go ahead and let's get on with it. I will be using each player, saying each player from 100 to number 1, and also I'll be playing a snippet of audio of like a highlight from one of those players for each one. So let's go ahead and let's start with number 100.
Canadian roar to the attack. Billy Ray combining with Dickie Moore. But once again, Terry Sawchuk is too good. And Sawchuk marks up his 4th shutout in 8 playoff games. He did.
Terry Sawchuk, number 100 on my list. Terry Sawchuk, one of the great all-timers, one of the greatest goaltenders of all time, a Detroit Red Wings Hall of Famer, who helped them win a championship and also won a Stanley Cup in Toronto after he left in the exodus that also deposited Ted Lindsay. And a definite Hall of Fame goaltender, a definite great big-time goalie, and he's my number 100. Number 99.
Shot it in. Desjardins moving up in deep. Flipped it to his man in the corner. Lindros behind the net. Out front, Niederma. Shot, Lindros. Another shot. Burning down. They score. They tied the game. And the big guy likely was the one who touched it last.
Okay, it was never said there by the great broadcaster Bob Cole, but that's Rod Brind'Amour, former Philadelphia Flyer, Carolina Hurricane, currently the Carolina Hurricanes coach. And Rod Brind'Amour, all of the playoff goals that he scored in his career, all of the greatness, and how he was able to do so well and succeed for a Philadelphia Flyers team that was always gunning for a championship, but then go to a Carolina Hurricanes team, help them on their way through the playoffs, and then ended up being the captain and winning the cup in 2006 on a favored Carolina team. Because he got traded to Carolina, who wasn't really a winning team at the time, from Philadelphia, and still made them a winning team and actually got them the cup win. He couldn't in Philly. So that is definitely my number 99 right there, Brind'Amour. Now to number 98. I'll just say it. Some of these highlights are going to be hard to find. Serge Savard. Serge Savard, absolute defensive defenseman who was really good at what he did, and definite Hall of Famer. When you think of all of the great French-Canadian players, you definitely think of Serge Savard. The Canadians had to have a solid defense to win all the cups, and he was one of those guys in their 70s dynasties to be so solid defensively. He was definite, absolute in Serge Savard. So that's my number 98. Number 97. Number 97. Just hold on 1 second, and Again, hard to find a highlight, but here we go. I'll just say it anyway. Mark Howe. Mark Howe, the defenseman of the Philadelphia Flyers and the Chicago Blackhawks as well. Yes, he stood in the shadow of Gordie Howe, his father, but Mark Howe became a great defenseman in his own right, going to Stanley Cup Finals and succeeding in the NHL with a bunch of great physical teams, and he stood out as a phenomenal player, I would definitely say, as theirs for 97. So, number 96. Rod Langway, another great defenseman for the Washington Capitals. Rod Langway, very efficient, very solid D-man, and he did so much for his hockey team, absolutely in 96. Now number 95. Number 95. Adam Foote, one of the great pillars in the Colorado Avalanche teams that won in 1996, and that one was from 2001 as well. Phenomenal hockey player, no doubt about that. And he helped his team succeed so well in the playoffs and in the regular season, no doubt. So 94 now. Number 94 on the list is
elbow there. And in front now, Stastny alone. He gets set, shoots, scores! Peter Stastny, and boy, this is a moment in Peter's life. Isn't that great to see? Peter's been criticized a little bit so much throughout the camp. Maybe being a little bit...
Peter Stastny. Peter Stastny at 94. He was a great Czech-Canadian winger. So good for the Quebec Nordiques. He was there, and the New Jersey Devils really was one of the prime reasons that the Devils got to the level that they felt that they could be at. And in the 1980s, when they didn't have Scott Stevenson, they didn't have Marty Brodeur, he was one of the pillars there. So, Peter Stastny at 94. Now, 93.
Coffey just keeps encroaching on that Winnipeg net. He ends up taking the shot almost from the top of the circles. Konstantinov for Larionov. He scores! What a beautiful touch by Larionov as he put it up high.
Igor Larionov, the professor, as they called him, went into the league from the Red Army team where he was so good in Russia, and with the San Jose Sharks, mystifying all opponents and one of the best passers the league has ever seen, and then transitioning to an absolute superstar with the Detroit Red Wings and winning a bunch of championships there, 3 cups in Hockeytown, and how good he was for the team. The team probably did not do as good as they could have without Igor Larionov, and also one of the key forward members of the Red Army line. Number 92. It wasn't great, but the highlights weren't great on that. Couldn't find good ones. But anyway, Ken Dryden, number 92. He came in, did not have a long career, which I think is why he's this low on the list, which top 100 all time is saying something anyway. But did not have a long career, but he came in from Cornell and into the Montreal Canadiens system as an extremely smart person and a smart goaltender. And as a rookie, stoned one of the best teams in NHL history never to win the Cup. This Boston Bruins, coming off the one championship that they did have, and he absolutely stoned them. They didn't have a chance against him, and later in his career still did so well as a goaltender. Ken Dryden at 92 for me. Number 91 now. Number 91.
In it comes to Foligno. Housley, when the backhand goes to the forehand, gets it back to Johansson. Housley, Foligno, the drive, and Smith came up with the save, but Johansson blocked to the back of the blue line. Housley with it again. Back to Johansson. Back to Housley. In it goes to Tucker. Tucker tried to work it in front. Big J scores! Andreychuk!
Dave Andreychuk, known for his work there, as was heard in the video, in Buffalo, but also winning a Stanley Cup in Tampa Bay with the Tampa Bay Lightning. Had a fantastic career there with the Sabres. A lot of scoring. Obviously scored a ton of goals, but also was a great leader. A lot like Rod Brind'Amour, who we talked about earlier. But Dave Andreychuk at number 91 for me. And now to number 90.
I did not.
All right. Rod Gilbert. I was going to have a highlight, but again, I couldn't really find it. Rod Gilbert played for the Canadiens, played for the Rangers, good forward, great captain. And again, he was so elusive with the puck, also could shoot it well, definite all-time player. Number 90, Rod Gilbert. Number 89 now. Number 89. Glenn Anderson. Won cups in Edmonton, won cups in New York with the Rangers, and he had very good regular season numbers, but his playoff numbers were off the charts. He was an absolute great playoff goal scorer. He forechecked, he hit, he bumped and grinded, and he also scored a lot of timely goals and was just known as a winner. No question about it, Glenn Anderson. Number 89. Now number 88. Jonathan Toews, one of the few players on this list still in the NHL, and obviously we don't know what's going on with Jonathan Toews right now. But Jonathan Toews, to me, absolutely no question about it. Number 88 on the list. And really, the only reason the Blackhawks were able to have success is they started out with the rebuild. They needed a great player. He has turned into a Hall of Fame hockey player. The way he moves the puck, the way he shoots it, the way he plays defense, the way he plays for his hockey club, and he can do almost anything. And the numbers are staggering. No question, Jonathan Toews at number 88. Number 87. Number 87. Sorry if that was loud. Yeah, couldn't find a real good one without music, but Gilbert Perreault, one of the key members of the French Connection line in Buffalo, the 1970s. One of the fastest skaters, most solid skaters, and a great shot. Fantastic goal scorer of the Buffalo Sabres. No question about it. Gilbert Perreault definitely deserves to be up on this list. There is no doubt about that. Number 86. That's 87, 86.
Striding in, dropping it back to Lemieux, who centered it. Comes back to Stanton. Stanton into the corner with it. Back to Stanton, penalty over, score! It won't be a power play goal, but it's a big one. You're right, Bob. It won't count as a power.
All right, again, broadcaster didn't say who it was, but it's Rick Tocchet. Rick Tocchet, to me, phenomenal. That was a Penguins highlight. No more with Philadelphia. With Philadelphia, with Phoenix, with Pittsburgh. Again, a consummate winner, a fantastic goal scorer, and a great player on the defensive end of the puck as well. No doubt about that. Number 85 now. Darryl Sittler, a player who has a record that no hockey player in the NHL has ever had, including Wayne Gretzky, and probably ever will. A 10-point night against the Los Angeles Kings with the Toronto Maple Leafs. Now, that's not going to get you to the top 100. As great as that is, it's not. Well, thankfully, Darryl Sittler did some other things. Great goal scorer, another winner, Stanley Cup winner with the Toronto Maple Leafs, and speedy guy, could skate with the puck well, could shoot the puck well, did all those things, and he did it to a higher level. So you got it. No question. Darryl Sittler at 85. Number 84. Number 84.
Recchi the blind pass. Savard holds, delays, and then loops it into the corner. Recchi against Campbell. Recchi plays the body. The puck comes over to Matt Walker. Recchi's pressure keeps the puck alive. Bergeron to Kovacs through the backhand. Recchi scores! Mark Recchi's first as a Bruin!
Mark Recchi. By that clip alone, you heard how much work he did on the puck, and you couldn't even see the play, and you still could understand. Mark Recchi, yes, like every forward here, scored a lot of goals. But he did it in a way where he was always a mucker, always a grinder, get in front of the net. He would get hit. He would push the puck through, and he also knew how to be a great teammate in Vancouver against Vancouver when they were winning in his final year one of the games to help them get the Stanley Cup. They were blowing him out, and it was just a tap to the head of these young players, just high five, like not going to celebrate or anything. He's a consummate winner. He understood class. He understood hockey. When you think of hockey, you think of Mark Recchi, unbelievable player, and to me, yes, I would absolutely put him there at that list at number 84. Number 83 now. Number 83. Rob Blake, absolute incredible player. He now works in the Los Angeles system. He played for the Kings. Was drafted by the Kings. Was one of their greatest players of all time. Defenseman. Also went to Colorado, and at the tail end of his career was with the San Jose Sharks and all over the Western Conference. An unbelievable hockey player. Won a Stanley Cup with Colorado in 2001. Went to the Stanley Cup final with LA in 1993, and just the numbers of goals and hits and plus on the ice is just astounding. So 83 for Rob Blake. Number 82. Number 82.
Seen 6 shots come his way. Dowd gets the draw. Chara loads it. Score! A long-range blast.
The checking line does in there.
Zdeno Chara. What do you have to say about Zdeno Chara that hasn't already been said? He probably the greatest Slovak hockey player that's ever played the game. One of the greatest defensemen that have ever played the game. Again, a leader, a winner. He won the cup in Boston in 2011. He's done so much. 43, still playing in the National Hockey League. He's going to turn 44 later this year, and he just keeps on winning. And he's not a goal scorer, but he has scored a good amount of goals in his year in the playoffs and in the regular season. And he doesn't hit as hard as anymore because he's older, but still, he was one of the hardest hitters or the hardest fighters, the hardest slap shot in NHL history. Everything just speaks to itself, and he finds a way to play playoff hockey every day, every night. And it's not a bad thing you could say about Zdeno Chara. All right, number 81. Number 81. Jean Ratelle. Jean Ratelle, another great French-Canadian New York Ranger. Great offensive winger. He, again, scored a great amount of goals and is a great positional player. No question about that. Absolutely amazing for them. Number 80. Oh, that's an ad. Sorry about that. But number 80. Here we go. Patrick Kane. As great as Jonathan Toews was, but Patrick Kane even better. All of the goals that he scored, was just a goal scorer when he came into the league, but has become so much more. The assists, that 1,000 point was an assist, a pass to Saad, and he's made guys like Brandon Saad better. He probably will end up, if he wants to keep on playing, another 6-7 years, will probably pass Hull as the greatest American goal scorer in NHL history. There's no question about that. He is an absolute phenom for the United States and for the Chicago Blackhawks. Patrick Kane, no question there. Number 80. Number 79. Number 79
Growing
here.
up in the
Up.
1970s.
Again, that was loud, but here we go. Patrick LaFontaine. Pat LaFontaine at number 79. Great for the New York Islanders. Great for the Buffalo Sabres. Did so well as your French-Canadian skater and great scorer. So many fantastic goals. Made you go, wow. Unbelievable. No question about that. Pat LaFontaine. Number 78. Now, number 78. Couldn't really find a video on it, but Bjorre Salming. Bjorre Salming, the first Swedish hockey player into the National Hockey League. He paved the way for guys like Lidstrom and Zetterberg and Jan Franzen and Tomas Holmstrom and Peter Forsberg, Matt Sundin, Henrik Daniel Sedin, all those guys. Bjorre Salming, the first Swedish player to get into the NHL, and was a defenseman. He was a fantastic winner for the Toronto Maple Leafs, having a long, long career. And I don't believe he ever won a cup, but he did win a lot for Toronto. Was one of their big reasonings that they were able to do so well in the playoffs. Bjorre Salming, no question about that. His defensive play and one of the better offensive defensemen in the 70s and the 80s. Bjorre Salming, no doubt there. Number 77, Glenn Hall. Glenn Hall was a goaltender there for the St. Louis Blues, the Chicago Blackhawks, and he was the expansion hero for St. Louis and one of the big-time goaltenders for Chicago as well. A super speedy and athletic goaltender like nobody would have ever had seen. And so, yeah, that to me, that is Glenn Hall, no question there. Number 76. Number 76. Eric Lindros. Before some of the injuries that derailed his career, Eric Lindros was probably top 3 best player in the league, no question. He still has the goals to go there. He's probably higher on this list if the injuries don't happen. Unbelievable talent. Another great French-Canadian. skater, a powerful shot, and a really physical hockey player. Really embodied the Philadelphia Flyers and helped them to the Stanley Cup final in 1997, and one of the best records in hockey in 2000. So great at what he did. A great scorer, but also physical. And then the negative side of things, you could see that when he went down, the team kind of went down. It can show how good of a player you can be and are. So 76, Eric Lindros. Number 75 now. Number 75.
Gilmore against Janney on the draw. Gilmore won it. And it's Todd Gill straight up the ice to the blue line. Gilmore takes the pass and shoots it from center. Rattles on the boards. Borshevsky couldn't stop him. Gill again. 3 Blues chasing him. And Gill fires it in. There's Gilmore. And Borshevsky. Borshevsky penetrated. Shot rebound. Andrechuk took no chances. Scramble for it. And it's still out of there. Into the corner. Andrechuk had a great chance. And then another. McCown kept it in. McCown's drive. A high riser on the glass. Stop to the other side.
It's coming, guys.
Gilmore back in the net. Andrechuk in front with Borshevsky. It is Gilmore waiting. Waiting. Around the net. Waiting. He's open. Gilmore! Solo job! And he's won it in the second overtime period.
Doug Gilmore. The heart and the soul of those 1990s Toronto Maple Leafs teams. Such a strong-willed Eastern Canadian hockey player. And the heart and the soul that he had. So great for his team. Fantastic goal scorer. Oh, what a goal scorer. Ended up doing well later in his career when he got traded to New Jersey as well. But, yeah. Number 74. Number 74. Number 74 is, I'll have to see who that is. But here we go.
Here's the shot. Scores! And Detroit is cup-bound.
Brendan Shanahan. Brendan Shanahan is number 74. He started his career in St. Louis, then was traded to Hartford in the Chris Pronger deal, and then really became such a great winner and a goal scorer in Detroit. That was the empty net goal to send them to the final in '97, his first year with the Red Wings. He won a cup that year. He won another cup and 3 Stanley Cups for Shanahan, as he also won in 2002 and scored the empty net to clinch the cup there against the Hurricanes. Great scorer, but he didn't just score. He was a physical player and a guy that it was team first. He'd do whatever it took to win, and fearless, Brendan Shanahan. Number 73. Sid Abel. Sid Abel, right out there, number 73. He was a great team player as well. I'm gonna also try to speed this one, these up, just so it'll be easier. Maybe we'll kind of go we'll go to that point there. Number 72 is Joe Nieuwendyk. The Dallas Stars and the Calgary Flames, another fantastic defensive player and a great offense and skill as well. Number 71, King Clancy, played for the Toronto Maple Leafs and a great winner there as well. Now one of the trophies is named after him. Number 70, Eddie Shore. Boston Bruins defenseman, fantastic one. Bobby Orr before. Bobby Orr, no doubt about that. Eddie Shore. Toe Blake at 69. Another fantastic defenseman in the original 6 era. Number 68, Jacques Lemaire. He would coach the Devils, but before that he would have so much success in the 60s and 70s with the Montreal Canadiens, his hometown team. As a forward, scoring an unbelievable amount of goals for them. Number 67, Ed Belfour. Eddie Belfour, drafted with the Chicago Blackhawks, a goaltender, one of the best goaltenders in NHL history, and also playing for the Dallas Stars, where he won a Stanley Cup, and no doubt about that. Eddie Belfour, 67. Number 66, Dave Keon, a great Maple Leaf and Ranger, and Keon, another great forward, fantastic goal scorer there. 65, another Chicago Blackhawk and New York Ranger, although it was opposite. He started with the Rangers first, and one of the top goal scorers in the history of the NHL. No Stanley Cups, but when it comes to goal scoring, you talk about him, and that's Mike Gartner. Mike Gartner, when it comes to goal scoring, again, just fire away, and he would score. Very fast player. No player going to come around like Mike Gartner, no question about that. 65. Number 64, Bernie Geoffroy, another of those fantastic forwards in the Montreal dynasties in the 1970s. So nothing really to say there. Number 63, Daniel Sedin. Daniel Sedin, one of the two twins in Vancouver. The Canucks left in 1999. 1999 NHL entry draft was one of the worst in league history, but their second and third picks, orchestrated by Brian Burke for the Vancouver Canucks, it was Daniel and his brother Henrik. Daniel became a great statistic player, and he has all-time goals in Vancouver Canuck history, record that likely won't be toppled, not even by a guy like Besser or Horvat, but Daniel Sedin, all-time player, carried the Canucks for so long, and no doubt about that for Daniel. 62, John Busick, one of the top forwards on those big bad Bruins of the 1970s. John Busick, great player, no question about that. Number 61, another offensive skilled Boston Bruin that actually has links with Vancouver, just like Daniel did, but never won a cup, and that's Cam Neely. Cam Neely, one of the greatest scorers in Boston Bruins history, and the speed and the skill and the strength that guy possessed is otherworldly. No doubt about that. Number 60, the Russian Rocket, Pavel Bure. Pavel Bure, such a speedy hockey player, the greatest Russian hockey player of all time until for like 5-6 years. Like, he was the greatest. And his speed, his skill, strong guy too on the board. Strong guy and a fantastic shot. Nothing compares to Pavel Bure, the way he could speed out, one of the fastest hockey players of all time as well. Number 59, another Russian hockey player that defected from the Soviet Union at a similar point, but also played with Pavel Bure for 2 years. I would rank a little higher, and that's Alexander Mogilny. Played for Buffalo, scored, I think 1 year, he scored like 59 goals. Just an incredible amount of high scoring. Another incredible goal scorer that was not physical early on, but learned the physical North American style as he played. And Mogilny would later win a Stanley Cup with New Jersey, and also, as we said, played with Vancouver, a winner and a goal scorer. Number 58, I think one of the most underrated hockey players in the history of the world. Another guy who also played with Bure and Mogilny, although not in the same line, Trevor Linden. Trevor Linden, one of the greatest Vancouver Canucks in the history of the franchise, one of the better players in hockey's history. Goal scorer whenever it counted, and winner whenever it counted. He hit, he would dig pucks in. He would find ways to get the puck to the net if it was on a breakaway, crazy player, if it was just jamming away at the net, or if it was getting hit several times, he'd just dump it across. And even if the puck missed, he still would get up. Remember the classic, he'll play on crutches, he'll play on Madison Square Garden, Game 7, Sunday night, the great call from Jim Robeson about that. With Trevor Linden, he got hit in the leg by Adam Graves, and he was limping for the last 5 minutes of Game 6 of the Stanley Cup Final, and he still played on one leg, and he played on one leg in the Stanley Cup Final in Game 7, and had 2 points on the 2 Vancouver goals, an assist and a goal that gave the Canucks life in that game, even though they would lose. And Trevor Linden playing against Wayne Gretzky in 1993, I think in a playoff series they would lose in 6 games, still the best player on the ice. Trevor Linden, unbelievable hockey player, no question about that. Number 57, rest in peace, Dale Hawerchuk. And Dale Hawerchuk, he was, after Bobby Hull left, the heart and the soul of the Winnipeg Jets. The Winnipeg Jet for so long, and also won a lot of games and scored a lot of goals with the Buffalo Sabres in the playoffs. Playoff winner, he never won a Stanley Cup. The closest he got, he went to the Stanley Cup Final in 1997 with the Philadelphia Flyers, playing on the third line, and obviously he was at the bad end of a hit in that game from Vladimir Konstantinov. But, unbelievable hockey player. The goals that he scored, the assists, everything was down to Dale Hawerchuk. And Dale Hawerchuk at number 57. Number 56, Paul Kariya. No Stanley Cups there either, but one of the greatest goal scorers, again in NHL history. Speed, skill, did everything, and also got what looked to be brutally injured by Scott Stevens, and still came back and beat Stevens to score a goal on returning the Stanley Cup Finals. Better than that. He didn't have the best of careers after that injury, but it still was a lengthy career in St. Louis as well. And the greatest player in Vermont college history, setting records there as a guy that could have, as a Canadian that could have played in the OHL and decided to play for Vermont. For Maine, excuse me. I'm sorry I said Vermont. I apologize. For Maine University, and setting records there, being so great in University of Maine. Number 54, Alex Del Vecchio. Another great original 6 Detroit Red Wings forward. He scored a ton of goals. Wasn't Ted Lindsay or Gordie Howe, but next best thing, production line, all of that. That he was the guy that would get. And he would, personally, both Gordie Howe and Ted Lindsay were goal scorers, but they were playmakers. Del Vecchio was a playmaker as well, but when you talk about goal scorer, he was one of the purest goal scorers in the history of the NHL as well, especially when it comes to the original 6 era. So Del Vecchio at number 54. At number 53, and also when this video comes out, I will comment either in Premiere or in a regular, in both. I will comment who the list, so if you guys can't, everybody can't track it. Number 55. He's not the best hockey player of all time, but he might be the most skilled hockey player that will ever play on the face of the earth. Pavel Datsyuk. Oh, where do you begin? The Datsyukian dangles, the defensive play, the 200-foot game, the fact that he didn't score as many goals and points as his talent could have even enabled him to, even though he scored a ton, because he played the defensive side of the game, because he took a hit, because he played, and the things that he did with the puck, the dangles and the moving past and the flipping the puck up and the between the legs, nobody will ever do that. He had an athleticism that you can't teach, but he also learned how to play hockey in the Russian way and in the North American way. And scored a lot of goals, a lot of assists. Did great as a defensive player. Under the top of the Euro Twins for the Detroit Red Wings. And ended up winning 2 Stanley Cups. In fact, winning one as a rookie and scoring in the playoffs on a team that had Yzerman and had Fedorov and had Shanahan and all of these other Hall of Famers, but still. So Datsyuk 55. At 55, Datsyuk, and Del Vecchio at 54. Yeah, I think I said Del Vecchio at 54. It was the other way around. At 53, Denis Savard. Other fantastic, speedy Chicago Blackhawks forward. Unbelievable with his offense. Astounding talent. No doubt about that. Denis Savard. Denny Savard, as they call him. One of the top scorers in the 1990s. Number 52. The top scorer still, Kane will catch him soon, but the top scorer still in American history in players that were just straight up American. I say that because Brett Hull has the top there with points and goals, but Brett Hull is Canadian American. But Mike Modano. Mike Modano, when you think America, you think Modano. You say Michigan-born player that played with the Minnesota North Stars, was a great goal scorer there for so long. And when they went to Dallas, won the Cup in Dallas as a bona fide goal scorer. Played for so long with the Dallas Stars. His final year, the Stars did not renew his contract, but he did head over to his hometown, Detroit Red Wings, and was a great player there. Almost hit 1,500 games, and wonderful, wonderful hockey player. Number 51, Grant Fuhr, the goaltender of the Edmonton Oilers, and he later played for St. Louis as well. And Grant Fuhr, I know Wayne Gretzky, Messier, but that Oilers team doesn't win these cups without Fuhr. He enabled them to go down the ice, and he would make incredible stops, and he never had a bad game. Grant Fuhr was the guy that you want in your trenches, you want in your foxhole, and he was absolutely amazing, amazing goaltender, no doubt about that. Number 50, Dennis Potvin, the first pick of the rebuilding New York Islanders, and they went with Dennis Potvin. And Potvin, obviously known for Potvin sucks because of one of his hits in the 1970s playoffs against the Rangers, but besides that, beloved by New York Islanders faithful. He won 4 Stanley Cups for them as the captain. Fantastic hitter, and also he could score goals. A defensive defenseman, but still unbelievable captain and great winner for the New York Islanders in the 1980s. Number 49, Red Kelly, who's another great forward, play with the Toronto Maple Leafs. Red Kelly, no doubt there. Great player. Number 48, probably the greatest Chicago Blackhawk that's ever lived, Stan Mikita. Stan Mikita, rest in peace, of course, can you say? Guy that was a really scared young player. Watched documentaries on that, and to play against Gordie Howe and all these just fantastic players, and learned how to be better and to score goals and play defensively, and won cups with Chicago. He is Mr. Blackhawk of Chicago, Stan Mikita, no doubt there at number 48. Number 47, Frank Mahovlich. What a great forward, Toronto Maple Leaf. Great winner there, also with the New York Rangers. A physical and strong forward. No question about it. No great goals, Frank Mahovlich, 47. Number 46, one of the greatest Montreal Canadian defensemen of all time, Doug Harvey. Doug Harvey did such talented as a defenseman and was a great offensive defenseman, one of the first really ever to break out like that. So Doug Harvey at 46. At number 45, Scott Niedermayer, another great defenseman. Niedermayer playing with the New Jersey Devils almost his whole career, and then the latter of his career with Anaheim, and winning 3 Stanley Cups in New Jersey in 1995 and 2000 and 2003, and captaining the Anaheim Ducks to win the Cup in 2007. One of the most athletic defensemen that will ever play the game. He had some Datsyukian-esque moves that he used, especially in the Stanley Cup Final in 1995. And I know that the Conn Smythe Trophy went to Claude Lemieux, but I always said I felt that Scott Niedermayer could have won it. He was an unbelievable talent. Great, absolute great player. Number 45. Number 44, Chris Pronger, who also played with Scott Niedermayer in 2007 when they won the Stanley Cup. And when you think of big hits and nasty, you think of Chris Pronger. Also the fact that he can score goals. Also the fact that he scored the only penalty shot goal in the Stanley Cup Final. And to pick Pronger to do it, and who's had a fantastic slap shot, a great wrister, everything going for him, and A guy who knew how to be a leader, how to win with young players and with experienced players, and just a lightning rod for that type of hockey. He screams North American hockey. Number 43 is Ron Francis, who was Mr. Hartford Whaler, so well with Hartford, did so well. He got traded to the Pittsburgh Penguins when the Whalers were going through new ownership, and he won a Stanley Cup with Pittsburgh. Again, timely goal scorer, one of the top goal scorers for a guy that never tried to do, never really played all the time on a top line. Yes, he had a great line with Mario Lemieux, but never was the guy like, oh, I want him on my top line. He's the guy I'm going to pick first. He was never the guy picked first. He would never score highlight goals, but he would still find ways to score goals and matter when it counted. You wanted him on your hockey team. Number 42, the Datsuk of goaltending. The way that he's one of the greatest players of all time. Number-wise, not the greatest, but still, nobody will ever forget him and nobody will do what he'll do. And that's Dominik Hasek. Oh, God, I'm kidding. Dominik Hasek. The way that he would, I say flop around, but that's disrespectful. I'll say it, but it's disrespectful because he has said himself, when he flopped around, it was coordinated. It wasn't he was guessing where the puck was and he would just fly to go get it. He understood how his athleticism worked, and he understood angles. Very smart guy. He understood if he could get to the puck here, here's how he could tip it, or he would go up the ice and hurdle a player going for a breakaway and have the perfect timing. Incredible glove saves you'll never see in your life. Kick saves, crazy stuff. Won a Stanley Cup in 2002 with the Detroit Red Wings, and also the fact that Buffalo had some good players like Miroslav Shakan and Michael Pekka, but no disrespect to them, they are nowhere close to this list. And those were their best offensive players. Not a very good team offensively, and there's no Phil Housley, so they weren't that great of a team defensively, but their goaltender was just 1990s Dominik Hasek was unbeatable. And a talent-laden Team Canada could tell you about that from their experience at Nagano in the Winter Olympics in 1998 when the Czechs won the gold medal thanks to the heroics of Dominik Hasek in the shootout. Number 41, another great American player. Brian Leetch, winning the Conn Smythe and the Stanley Cup, the first American born player to win the Conn Smythe, and I believe the only American defenseman to ever win it in 1994. And Brian Leetch was so good in the playoffs that year with the Rangers. Still beloved by New York Rangers fans today. An incredible goal scorer. He's got a fine-tuned shot, and had a fine-tuned shot when he scored. He had a long career and a fantastic defensive player as well. Not a defensive defenseman, but he knew how to play lockdown defense. And number 40, Bobby Clarke, the heart and soul of the 1970s Philadelphia Flyers. Bobby Clarke, I mean, that's a big-time player. That's a guy who helped them win the cup. He was in the Broad Street Bullies type where he didn't have to fight all the time because there were guys like Dave Schultz that would fight for him. But he also would throw fists. He would hit a guy, teeth would be knocked out. He'd be scoring goals. He'd be making the play. And he also didn't jump in and out of the penalty box. He would go to the penalty box if need be, but also he understood when to stay on the ice and not make a penalty, make a play. And did. What a player for Philadelphia. Number 40, Bobby Clarke. Number 39, Al McGinnis. The guy's probably had maybe one of the hardest shots in the history of the NHL. And won a cup in Calgary as a Conn Smythe Trophy winner. Also, a Conn Smythe Trophy winner. The MVP of the final in the playoffs of a team where he was the second-year man, and it was so experienced with playoff-laden veterans, and he still had veterans, and he still was able to find a way to be the greatest player. A defenseman who could hit hard, who shot, who could burn. you knew that every time he stepped on the ice, he put a jolt of electricity into the team and make the team play better in Calgary, but especially in St. Louis. No question about that. Number 38, no 39, Al MacInnis. Number 38, Scott Stevens. Oh, one of the hardest hitters of all time. He understood what it was to win. He put that instilled into New Jersey and helped them become from a great team that could play in the playoffs and be good to an absolute contender. Also started his career with St. Louis, and Scott Stevens with the debilitating hits and good goals in the playoffs as well, but not a goal scoring guy. He had wear the heart in his sleeve, and it's Scott Stevens to lock up the player that you needed to lock up. He shut down the best players in the league on a daily basis and get the cup won by his hockey team. No question about that. There's Scott Stevens. Number 37, Lanny McDonald. An unbelievable goal scorer with the Toronto Maple Leafs, and then later going on to Calgary to play with the Flames and win the Cup in 1989, finally. A great ambassador to the sport and one of the top tier NHL scoring players of all time. And that's definitely got to be Lanny McDonald. Number 36, Peter Forsberg, inventing the Forsberg move in the World Juniors and playing well in the NHL, winning his 2 Stanley Cups in Colorado, although in 1996 he was incredible and he was healthy. In 2001 he was not healthy, but still won the Cup, still did so well. One of the greatest European scorers of all time. And tough as nails guy that would get hit, would hit you, would fight, as you saw in the brawl in the brawl in Hockey Town, fighting Igor Larionov, and just an unbelievable scoring player. Peter Forsberg is revered in Colorado and immortalized in Sweden. All right, number 35, Bobby Hull. I did say Stan Mikita, but Bobby Hull probably the best Chicago Blackhawk of all time. The father of Brett Hull and Bobby Hull, incredible goal scorer, the Golden Jet as they called him, streaking down the ice, scoring great goals, helping in the WHA and early NHL era with the Winnipeg Jets as well, and helping win Stanley Cups in Chicago. He's revered there as well. Unbelievable player. No doubt about it. Number 35. Number 34. Another great Swedish offensive skater. Mats Sundin. Number 34. So yeah, Mats Sundin. He was really a lightning rod. Fantastic offensive player. Scored a great amount of goals, record numbers for Sweden and for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Never won a Stanley Cup, ended his career in Vancouver, but never doubted that he would be a winner and a great player who came in as a playmaker to be good, but became even better. That did Mats Sundin. How sweet it is, we continue to number 33, another Swede, Henrik Zetterberg, the other half of the Euro Twins. And remember, we put Datsuk at 54, Zetterberg at 33, because he played even longer, and he would still be playing if not for the catastrophic back injury. An even better goal scorer, an even better defensive player, and he did not have the pure talent that Datsuk has, because who does? But all of those categories that we said Datsuk did good in, Zetterberg did even better. He was the captain. He was an incredible winner on a team that was great, that turned bad. Found ways to hit, play defense, score goals offensively, and just do things with the puck that you just go, wow. Henrik Zetterberg, absolutely the heart and soul of this team. Also, Henrik Zetterberg And if these players might have taken the most amount of hits to make a play, and we've seen in the NHL ever, and would still get the puck to the net and do the things that you need to do. Number 32, Marcel Dionne, one of the greatest hockey goal scorers in the history of the game. Numbers tell you everything. Playing with the LA Kings and coming from a trade from Detroit, and he was a good player in Detroit, but he didn't really fit their system. He fit the Kings system a lot better. Scored a ton of goals there. Think of the miracle in Manchester. Think of all of the playoff goals that he scored. Marcel Dionne, no Stanley Cups, but Marcel Dionne and another absolute bona fide winner. Number 31. The second half, the second of the three of the production line, Ted Lindsay, who was one of the most fearless players of all time in hockey history. He could hit hard. He would dish a hit, as we just said. He'd give it. He could take a hit. He'd punch it right in the mouth. He would score big goals. He also meant so much to the players because of creating the Player Association, which got him out of Detroit and traded to the Chicago Blackhawks, where he captained the Blackhawks and beat the Red Wings in the Stanley Cup final there. Ted Lindsay, unbelievable winner. No question there for Ted Lindsay and the Detroit Red Wings and Chicago Blackhawks wherever he played. And also, fun fact, became the first guy to lift the cup around. Ted Lindsay, rest in peace there as well. Number 30, and a great player. Number 30, Mike Bossy. Mike Bossy, the first hockey player ever to score 50 goals in 50 games as a rookie. A young French-Canadian kid that turned into bona fide superstar. Still, when you think about goal scoring, he is up here when it comes to that. And the Islanders in the 80s had a very balanced team of good playoff scorers and stuff, but you need your lightning rod. And Mike Bossy was their lightning rod as a goal scorer like no one will ever see. Number 29, and it came in as a late round pick in the 5th round with the Dallas Stars, and didn't do much with them, but turned around his career in Calgary and just became otherworldly, where he was not expected to. And that's Jarome Iginla at number 29. Iginla, Iggy as they called him, a Hall of Famer, played in Colorado and Pittsburgh and Boston and LA and Dallas, but really his career stands out in Calgary. All of the goals he scored and all of the records and the awards being won in Calgary with the Flames and guiding them to the 2004 Stanley Cup final. Another of those one all-time players never has won a Stanley Cup. Never won it in their career. But Jarome Iginla, fantastic numbers for a guy who wasn't expected to do so well, and one of the great goal scorers in history, and the points and the team type player that he was. Number 28, excuse me, I'm skipping. Number 28, Henrik Sedin, the other twin, and I was always more of a Daniel Sedin fan, just my fandom, but Henrik Sedin's a better player because what Daniel Sedin did in goals, Henrik Sedin was close with him in goals in second, and also by far better with points and assists. He was the captain of the Vancouver Canucks. He was the first guy to start scoring when they were not looked upon to score as much because of the West Coast Express line with Bertuzzi, with Morrison, and Naslund. And Henrik Sedin, just, you knew he was the guy who was going to deliver them. Never won a cup, but he was there for the longest along with his brother, and the numbers astounding on top of the Vancouver Canucks list on every non-goaltending category except for goals, and there he's second. No one got better than his brother. And Henrik's stats just unbelievable. There, number 27, probably the greatest Finnish player who's ever played, who may ever will play, the Finnish Flash, Teemu Selanne, scoring 76 goals in his rookie year with the Winnipeg Jets. Fantastic goal scoring he had with Winnipeg. Also, a good player in San Jose and in Colorado, but really making his name known because of the talent and of the success he had in Anaheim. Winning a Stanley Cup in 2007 with the Ducks. Just a really energetic and happy-go-lucky player, but also knew when to buckle down and be serious. Playoff player, but if you want goal scoring, you give the puck to Selanne, who was in the first line for most of his career, but when he got older and he had to be demoted to the third line, he was okay with that and found ways to score goals there. So, Selanne, 27. Number 26, great defenseman in Edmonton, in Pittsburgh, in Detroit, in Carolina, in Philadelphia. Everywhere he went via trade, it didn't matter. He was able to succeed in the Cups won. That is, at number 26, Paul Coffey. Paul Coffey, another fantastic offensive defenseman. The speed and the skating, parallel to none, and a wonderful shot that he had. Paul Coffey did for number 26 on my list. Paul Coffey. And just great defenseman as well. Now we get to the top 25. Number 25 on the list. That is Tim Horton. And no, not the coffee donut commercialized place in Canada and all over the world. He founded it, but Tim Horton was a fantastic defenseman for the Toronto Maple Leafs. One of the players that won the Cup in 1967. And again, not expected to do big things, but he did big things. He scored a lot of goals. He's one of the best defensemen of all time. And such a fearsome defenseman as well, who would take injuries to the face and dish them out and be okay with it and still play. He probably wasn't okay with it, but it doesn't matter. He won. And he was a great player. And there's no doubt about that at number 25, Tim Horton. At number 24, another hockey player right now is tied with Ovechkin with goal scoring. Phil Esposito, New York Ranger, Boston Bruin, really was well there with Boston, with Phil Esposito. And Phil also doing well outside of the game and founding Tampa Bay Lightning, and broadcaster there, making sure the GM there, making sure they could win the Cup. And Phil Esposito, no doubt about it, a absolute incredible goal scorer, a physical guy, and it always seemed like when he was skating down the ice with the puck, especially for Boston, we went, oh no, not this guy again, not Phil, not Esposito, and he would go through and put the puck in your net. No doubt about it. Number 23, I did say the best Finnish player is Selanne, but even though he put up some crazy numbers, that the guy that was the Bjarne Salming of Finland, definitely even better numbers, and definitely has to be said. And that's Jari Kurri at number 23. Jari Kurri, who came in the league with the Edmonton Oilers, and was going to be like, okay, so you got Mark Messier, you got Wayne Gretzky. So this guy's just going to sit there and just pound pucks whenever they give it to him, and like his stats will be okay, but it's like, just there because he's there. Not the case. Not the case at all. Not the case at all. In fact, he really became the first player to do well in Edmonton as Gretzky and Messier were trying to figure out early in their career, early in their career, and then everyone clicked, and Jari Kurri, top records in Finland on goal scoring, assists, and points. And still, when a hockey player has to go through in goals and pass players, one of the guys that you always talk about milestones is Kurri. Jari Kurri is so well known today, what he did with Edmonton and the Stanley Cups he won, a winner and a great scorer, number 23. Number 22, one of the greatest defensemen of all time. He played for the Avalanche, and before that, his entire career comprised in Beantown with the Bruins, Ray Bourque. Ray Bourque at number 22. Bourque, what can you say? Incredible offensive defenseman, but he played like a defensive defenseman and a hard hitter. And had a record for most shots by any hockey player in the history of the game, including Gretzky, and the ice time that he would have, he logged over 27 minutes of ice time in each game when he was aging, when he was over 30 in the 1998, well, not actually really over 30, like close to 40 in the 1998 playoffs against the Washington Capitals. That's how good this guy was. And a class act, of course, with the classic when Philip Esposito's number 7 was being retired, taking off his number 7 that Ray Bourque wore and putting up the 77 and saying, "This is for you, big guy, and it's always been yours." So, class guy as well as an incredible hockey player, number 22, Ray Bourque. Number 23, number 21. Number 23 was Curry. Number 21, again, one of the most skilled players of all time, one of the most absolutely athletic and incredible talents and that the hockey's ever known. And to me, he's my favorite Russian, although statistically not the best anymore, but was the best for so long. And that's Sergei Fedorov. He was the guy that started the Red Army line. He defected to the United States and to Detroit for the Red Wings. He was just a scorer, but he got better and better and better at scoring. The goal scoring that he's had, he's top 5 in Red Wings history. He's top 20 in the league. He's second all time in Russian scoring, assists, points, and goals. And he learned to play the North American style as well. Later in his career, and would later play, won 3 Stanley Cups with Detroit, would later play for Anaheim and Columbus and Washington, and ended up playing with Ovechkin. But unbelievable talent, just Sergei Fedorov, insane hockey player. Number 20, we're the top 20, Jacques Plante. Absolutely amazing forward talent, Montreal in the 70s, Jacques Plante, just, again, it's the Canadiens' talent we talk about, Montreal Canadiens. Number 19, who I believe is the greatest American player that has ever played the game. I really believe this. Chris Chelios. Such a long career, one of the longest careers of hockey players ever. Like past his 40s, he was an absolute winner. Most games played most games played in the regular season, and most playoff games by a wide margin of any American hockey player, and of any American defenseman, no doubt. And Chris Chelios played from the 1982 to 83 season to the 2009 to 2010 season. That was him. And he played in Montreal when he was drafted, won the Stanley Cup there. He played in his hometown of Chicago with the Blackhawks for a long time, and ended his rest of the career and his career he played for 13 more years in Detroit, winning 2 Stanley Cup, winning 1 Stanley Cup in 2002, as he missed out 97-98, was still in Chicago. But winning a Stanley Cup in 2002 and another Stanley Cup in 2008 with the Red Wings. His ice time went down as he got older, but that's because you're older, your body breaks down on you. But he never broke down in Detroit. He was a phenomenal Detroit Red Wing, Chicago Blackhawk, Montreal Canadian. I believe with the goal scoring and the defense, the greatest American players ever lived. And Chris Chelios deserves to be at number 19. And number 18, a talent still in the league. We may never see again as how he plays, Sidney Crosby. Sidney Crosby came into the league like no other player. Has a number 1 from Quebec and from Rimouski Oceanic, and rose to stardom. The goals scored and the assists and the points and everything in Pittsburgh Penguin history. He's number 2 all time in games, points, goals, assists, behind Mario Lemieux, and he's going to break all of those records very soon. Crosby played with Lemieux, and he also became the protege, and 3 Stanley Cups, 2 Conn Smythes. Basically the mayor of Pittsburgh, may say anymore, Sidney Crosby. And the only guy that could even top Crosby on goals wise and as a player who has just created a phenomenon and is just better, is the player that was his arch rival, and that's number 17, Alexander Ovechkin, the greatest Russian of all time, on goals, points, assists, games played, everything. He's tied right now with Phil Esposito, 7th all-time in goals scored. If you watch this after 10 o'clock tonight, he may rise ahead of that listing, depending on if he scores a goal today. The Capitals, Ovechkin came in. He had to be the savior to bring them a cup. It took him a long time, but he finally won the Stanley Cup. He won the Conn Smythe. He scored top goals. He doesn't have as many assists as Crosby, but I believe, I'm going to set this straight, I believe just look at the statistics and look at the impact. Ovechkin is the better player than Crosby at this point. And Ovechkin also beat Crosby to get to his cup, which it's not like the Penguins lost to, let's say, Tampa in the second round, even though that's not possible with the division alignment. No, but 17, no question, Ovechkin is the man at number 17. Number 16, another unbelievable defenseman. It's going to go down in league history. Larry Robinson, a future coach of the New Jersey Devils, to win a cup there with them as a coach, but also a great, fantastic hockey player with Montreal Canadiens. He's won the most Stanley Cups out of any player as a player, as well as winning as a coach. And Larry Robinson, defensively, how he could hit, how he could play, how he could score goals. Hall of Famer, no doubt. Now we get to the top 15. Number 15, Brett Hull. Brett Hull was not supposed to be as good as Bobby Hull, his father, when he came into the league, but he found a way to have a long career, play well, and become an absolute incredible goal scorer, and he was better. He won Olympic medals. He won Stanley Cups. He scored more goals. He had more assists. Played in more games. Brett Hull is widely seen to be one of the greatest players of all time, and no doubt at 15, it's a great place for him. Number 14, one of the greatest winners in the history of North American sports. You think of winning, strictly winning. Mark Messier. Winning Stanley Cups with the Edmonton Oilers, on 5, an Edmonton native. The incredible Stanley Cup he won with New York, and played a few good games, a few good years with the Vancouver Canucks, and then going back to New York Rangers. Mark Messier was the heart and soul of Edmonton and New York, and he understood how to win almost more than any other player ever. He got what it took. He understood the type of effort it took, and he scored. And he still, as a guy that again was not going for a goal scorer at any point in his career, and played with a better player, is top goal scoring. He's in the top 15 goal scoring in the league. He's in there with games played. He's in there with assists and points. He's got all of these records. And Mark Messier, no doubt about it, he is an absolute, I don't even want to say the legend. He is a demigod in Manhattan for what he did with the Rangers, and also revered in Edmonton. That with the records shows a great player. Number 14. Number 13, Joe Sakic. The Colorado Avalanche great. Drafted by the Quebec Nordiques, and then when they went to Colorado, he became the captain. Won the Conn Smythe in 1996. He didn't win the Conn Smythe in 2001, but the only reason he didn't there is because Patrick Waugh was otherworldly in that series. And assists and goals, he was the top in, and won the MVP in 2001. Joe Sakic at an older age too, playing until 2008 from when he was drafted in 1990. Joe Sakic, just unbelievable talent, unbelievable goal scorer. He's everything to Colorado fans, and for very good reason. Joe Sakic, definitely the number 19 in Colorado, absolute pick there, and all the records he has there. Oh yeah, and all records, all Colorado, Quebec Nordique records for a skater, all belong to Sakic. At number 12, a better Sakic who also wore 19, so there are tribals. Steve Yzerman. Steve Yzerman is everything to people who like Detroit Red Wings like myself. He has all-time goals, points, and games played for a franchise that's played since the 1920s, and a franchise actually has played since the 1910s because they were also the Vancouver Millionaires. They relocated, and he still has more points and goals than Gordie Howe, all of that in Red Wing history at least. And Steve Yzerman played more games. He was everything for the Red Wings. Played over 20 years with them. Won 3 Stanley Cups as a player. As an assistant general manager, won 4. And just like Sakic, the GM, won 1 in 2008. And as Sakic as a GM, now with Colorado trying to win a cup. Same thing with Detroit. Yzerman. Steve Yzerman is just an otherworldly being for the Detroit Red Wings. Everything he's done for Detroit, and Steve Yzerman at number 12. No question about that. Number 11, Guy Lafleur. Guy Lafleur, again, the offensive prowess that he possessed, the way he could score, the things he could do with the puck. No one comes close. When it comes to Montreal. No one comes even close. But yeah, there you go. So that's number 11. And well, actually, there are some players who do come close to Guy Lafleur, but he was just unbelievable talent, speed, offense, everything like that. Number 10, I believe the second greatest defenseman of all time. Yes, we're in the top 10 now. Bobby Orr. Number 4, Bobby Orr, one of the greatest goals of all time, and record set by defensemen. He's had the most points by any defenseman ever. He changed the way defensemen played. He was the lightning rod for the Boston Bruins, and he was still also a really great defenseman who could contend with older, experienced veterans like Gordie Howe. It didn't matter. So Bobby Orr, number 10. Number 9, I believe, the second, in my opinion, second greatest goaltender of all time. Patrick Roy. Quebecois born, Montreal Canadiens drafted, and later his career with the Quebec Nordiques, who, well, not with the Quebec Nordiques, but when they turned to Colorado for the Avalanche, he would never have gone to Quebec because of the arch rivalry politically and team-wise between the Canadiens and the Nordiques. But anyway, Patrick Roy setting all types of records on games played, goalie average, and goalie percentage. All of those records have been broken by Brodeur, but still, for one time, and he had every record in the book, has the 3 Stanley Cups, he won a Hart Trophy, he won a Conn Smythe. Patrick Roy, one of the most competitive players of all time, and again, an absolute winner at number 9. And number 8, who I believe is the greatest defenseman of all time, Nicklas Lidstrom, and the greatest Swedish player of all time, Nicklas Lidstrom. Drafted in 1990 by the Detroit Red Wings. And his career started a bit rocky, but he became the perfect human, Mr. Perfection, perfect human, as he was nicknamed by his teammates, the nickname coined by Chris Draper, and incredible amount of goal scoring. Yes, I know that he went so far a long time until the second to last year of his career without scoring a hat trick, but that doesn't matter for a defenseman. And games played, all the records set with Detroit, the way he changed the game of defenseman. I know Bobby Orr changed his offensive defenseman, but he made sure that you as a defenseman didn't even need to hit. You could hit, but you could also play this like smart, calculated chess type game and find a way to play into your 40s and just sit there defensively, make the perfect play, put your stick in the lane, and always make the perfect play, being the studious defenseman, and he changed the way defense is played, but at the same time, no one will ever play the way he played. All of those great defensemen we noted made mistakes more than Lidstrom ever did. Lidstrom made mistakes and took penalties and did stupid things, but he did it on a far less level than guys like Larry Robinson and Ray Bourque and Bobby Orr, who are all-timers themselves. Nick Lidstrom, no question, best defenseman of all time, number 8. Number 7, second in goals all time, second in assists all time, second in points all time, and a guy who has said he will play hockey till the day he dies. Still playing in the Czech League and played for 31 years in the National Hockey League, Jaromir Jagr. Jagr, need I say, started his career with Mario Lemieux in Pittsburgh, played in Dallas, played in Washington, played with the Rangers, played with there's so many different teams, played with New Jersey, Philadelphia, Boston, Calgary, Florida. Just an unbelievable winner, won 2 Stanley Cups with the Penguins at the beginning of his career, and found ways, Mario Lemieux less Penguins, to push them into the playoffs, to do well, to find a way to put the team on his back. Where the team was, if they had lost a playoff series against New Jersey, even though they were the 8th seed, were probably going to be out of the playoffs. And not only that, out of the playoffs, but out of Pittsburgh, that their team would have been sold. And did all the things that it took to be a world-class player and above on it. And, Jagr, he's the closest guy probably that will ever play, unless McDavid plays for 25 more years and has even better numbers. The closest guy that so far that we've seen will get to Gretzky's points. Because Ovechkin will get to Gretzky's goals, maybe. He'll never get to Gretzky's points. This is the only guy that can, if he decides to go back to the NHL, and he can put up good numbers there, he is still at the talent to do so, which is unbelievable at the age of, I believe, 46, 47. Number 6, the first all-time great goal scorer. Pure bona fide, before there was any. Maurice Richard, Rocket Richard. This was the Rocket. He was a polarizing, mean, lean, scoring machine figure in Montreal. The city rioted, and there were torches around for 3 days because he was suspended for 2 games. Rocket Richard, polarizing, an incredible goal scorer, fear in the eyes. He could hit you with his elbow. He wouldn't care. The stick play. He'd bash you with the stick. He'd also score incredible goals and win cups. How many cups he won? Second most cups in league history by any one player. Third most, actually, behind any one player. Behind his teammate Beliveau and Larry Robinson, who we noted before. Rocket Richard at number 6, no question for me. Number 5, Mario Lemieux, another French-Canadian hockey player. In fact, there's going to be 3 in this top 5 that are from Quebec, and Lemieux being one of them. Mario Lemieux, look, I love Gretzky. I think he's one of the greatest players of all time, as we'll note later. But Lemieux, when you talk about athleticism and you talk about moving the puck and just how did he do that? He did that. He carried a bad Penguins team to relevance, and then when they were able to get weapons, he got even better and better and better. His points and goals top in the league, in the top 10. It would have been even higher if he didn't have the cancer scares and the back injuries, and he still put up incredible numbers, playing hurt and not looking like he's playing hurt. Mario Lemieux, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. There's not many players who come close. One of the original 6 players on this list, although he came in at the tail end of the original 6 at number 4, and the last Montreal Canadian on this list, the greatest Montreal Canadian, in my opinion, Jean Beliveau. Not as many goals as Richard, but more points, more assists. And he was a great goal scorer. And he was an incredible playmaker. Maybe the best playmaker the league has ever seen. Charles was Montreal through and through. So good for the Canadians. He understood how to win in the original Six era and after the original Six era, and was able to learn from guys like Maurice Rocket Richard and also tutor young players like Larry Robinson and Serge Savard. Beliveau, number 4. No doubt about it. Number 4, Jean Beliveau. Number 3, Mr. Hockey, Gordie Howe. The greatest Detroit Red Wing of all time. Even though a bunch of his records have been surpassed, the effect on the game and the goals he scored and the meanness and the way he played for the Detroit Red Wings for the 4 Stanley Cups he won, there's not many players that will best Gordie Howe. In fact, I only think 2, and only one skater that will best him. And so, yes, that's a hint, guys. There's a goaltender in the top 2. But Mr. Hockey, Gordie Howe, the longest career of any hockey player ever. Jágr will probably blitz that, but still, Gordie Howe playing for 40 years, playing until he was in his mid-50s, the Houston Aeros and Hartford and Detroit, and man, nothing like Gordie Howe with the points and the goals and the way he impacted the game. Gordie Howe at number 3. At number 2, the greatest skater. Yes, there's a goalie at number 1. The greatest skater of all time, one of the greatest athletes in the history of the world, who might mean more to hockey than any other player. That somebody who's just heard of the word hockey and understands that it's a puck on ice, they'll know this player. Wayne Gretzky. The great one, Wayne Gretzky. At number 2, I just don't believe he's number 1 material, but everything else, most goals scored ever, most assists scored ever, most points scored ever. Changed the game in the amount. I don't believe he changed the game in the way it was played, but he changed the game in the amount of scoring that could be allowed. And he was a talent that we'll never see, because no one will match his assists, points, and goals. The fact that if you took away all of his goals, he would still be leading on points on Jágr by a wide margin. Gretzky, number 1 in the skater category. Number 2 ever of all time. An unbelievable player. Number 1, the best hockey player that has ever lived, including, in my opinion, the best athlete that has ever lived, due to his impact on the sport, on the sporting world, on how he played, the records he showed, how he changed the game, and everything he meant for a career that was long, but wasn't even as long as some of the others, like Jágr. Number 1, Marty Brodeur. Yes, folks, Marty Brodeur, the former Devil and Blue, but mainly New Jersey Devil, goaltender. He was drafted in the 1992 NHL draft in the first round. He made his career later in the 1992 season and became the starter in the 93-94 season with the New Jersey Devils. Goalie average, goalie percentage, save percentage, wins, goals scored as a goaltender, even though that doesn't really matter. Shutouts. Gold medals. Canada Cup awards, everything, goaltending-wise, goes to Marty Brodeur. He changed the way goaltending played, and here's the difference. Wayne Gretzky, top in goals, points, assists, all of the categories offensively as a skater. But the league still didn't score that many goals until the lockout, which was 5 years after Wayne Gretzky retired. Wayne Gretzky scored a ton of goals and made players understand that scoring goals was big, but they always understood that. He didn't change the game. Marty Brodeur changed the game goaltenders played. This was the butterfly style, but he took it to a whole other level. He was able to play more athletically with less pads, like other big-time goaltenders at the same time, like Jean-Sébastien Giguère. He played athletically and better than a guy like Patrick Waugh, who had invented the butterfly. And he was able to put numbers up higher numbers up statistically that guys who were more athletic than him, like Dominik Hasek and Curtis Joseph, could not. Note that Dominik Hasek was in the 40s in this list, and Curtis Joseph was not even in this list, and Marty Brodeur at number 1 of all time. Marty Brodeur changing, the Brodeur rule, now you can't move the puck out of the trapezoid because of him, because he cheated the game, because there were goaltenders like him, like Ron Hextall, that could move the puck out, but he did it better than any other goaltender ever and ever will. The fact that Wayne Gretzky's goal could be reached by a guy like Alex Ovechkin, the fact that no rookie goaltender being drafted this year in the 2021 National Hockey League entry draft is ever going to come close to Brodeur's wins. The only record that even come close by a goalie still in the league is Braden Holtby, and he tied him with most wins in a single regular season with 49, and the only reason that happened was because we're in a scoring league and the Capitals scored a lot of goals that year. Also, the 3 Stanley Cups by Brodeur, nobody comes close. Brodeur is the greatest hockey player of all time. No question about it. Thank you guys for watching this. This is a long time, but thank you for watching this. Again, either in Premiere or in regular YouTube when I post it. I will send the comments, not the comments, my full list up to there so everybody can see what the list is. All right, everybody. Happy hockey, everybody. I will see you soon for some hockey.